This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to, of course, the Research Talks here from Stockbox with the full house, the full team, Alan Green and Dan Flynn. Everyone's back from holidays, vacations. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Mark. Had a nice trip with some old guys on motorbikes up to Norfolk last weekend, and
good.
Much fun and hilarity was had. So a nice little break.
Good stuff.
Yeah. It's a really, really busy start to October. I mean, it's really kicked off this week, and we're seeing a lot of our clients, the client companies. I mean, Cadence Minerals in particular has raised, after the wrap retail raise announced today, it will have $2.5 million on its books, so it's actually got the money now to take the Azteca plant into production, which is fantastic.
Good. Yeah, very good. I did see that news flash up, but I didn't read it. So that's good. Of course, we spoke about Cadence recently, didn't we? And they really are progressing. So that's nice to see them funded. I noted yesterday, Dan, I know you interviewed Nick Tulloch. He was did that to acquire, you can tell us, but as I understand, it's to acquire additional properties, which included a wash plant, which is what they needed anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good interview with Nick. He was saying, as well as sort of expanding their presence at that Blue Mountain area, this one, like you say, it's got that plant. And I think he was saying basically the value of the plant alone sort of covers the value of the deal. So the ground is what he called a 2-for-1 offer. So we could be seeing them reaching production and therefore revenues even sooner than perhaps was first thought. So yeah, I know a lot of people weren't happy with the raise, which he covered in the interview, but I think, like he said, it was an opportunity they couldn't turn down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've got a raise to build value in the company, then I think that's what you're there for, isn't it, on the markets? And I've been out of the loop a little bit this week, but I know Blue Mountain was the low-hanging fruit getting into gold production. So if they've now got further land there, plus they've got a wash plant to actually do it, then in theory they're ready to go, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the next year will be a big one for them. They've been talking about moving from exploration to production for a while now, and it's finally coming. And of course, they have all those additional exploration assets as well to add even more upside. So hopefully, a good run for the company moving on from here.
It's a really exciting.
Indeed.
Sorry, Mark. Yeah, just to say, this is a really exciting development, and Dan, I know. I spoke to some people yesterday who were a little shocked at the discounted placing, but I think the issue is that it's such good value. It's a turnkey solution, and all of the equipment the company would have had to purchase to bring Blue Mountain into operation is included with this deal. So actually, it's a plug and play. There is, I should say, ECR published a tweet or on X this morning on social media on LinkedIn, details of a new presentation that's on the website that includes a real detailed drill down, excuse the pun, into the Raglan project. So if you go to follow ECR on X, then just follow that link, or on LinkedIn likewise, the link is there.
Right. Good. Thank you, Alan. Well, that's all that's sort of standing out to me. I did see this morning that Cycle AI was up 10,000%, so you get all excited, but then realise that actually it was a consolidation, and LSE is just showing the daily change on the price. It's not actually moving up 10,000%. Which would be lovely, but maybe we will see those kind of rises coming in the sort of AI space. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning. I think OpenAI is worth 500 billion or something. The valuation of these AI companies, and I think Nvidia basically took stock. I believe Nvidia put 100. I don't know if I say million or billions too high, isn't it? It'd be 100 million, I would say. Into OpenAI, but it's basically then just going back to them through purchases of GPUs. So it's like a circular sort of thing they've got going on there. But just goes to show that that AI thing is not slowing down at all. I actually use my AI every single day now. find it very, very useful.
It
So
was, yeah, it was actually 100 billion. I just looked it up.
it was 100 billion. Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds a lot, doesn't it? But I was thinking it can't be billion, but there we go. Yeah. Well, considering it encapsulates, I think, the entire market cap of all the miners listed globally. Some cash to spend. So yeah. And then, of course, the only other one of note is GMAT, obviously nicely above £1 now, which is nice to see. So all praise to Oliver there for moving that on. So
it's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, it really is incredible. GMAT. Wow.
Exactly. Well,
We'll say,
go on, Dan. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, we've also seen Bitcoin this week have a bit of a recovery. It's back up at 118,000, looking strong as of recording, and I think it's creating a lot of hope that the treasury companies could be about to get a second wind. Both Smarter Web and Coin, who are the ones I keep an eye on the most, have performed pretty well this week after a few months where they've been in decline. So it'd be interesting, I think, to see how that space changes if we do see another bull market, because I know there's been some differentiation the last couple of months, and most recently we saw Amazing AI generate some interest, and that's planning to take a leveraged approach with 5 different cryptos rather than just buying and holding Bitcoin, so it can maximize profits on the upside and still profit on the downside. So I think that would be interesting. I'm going to a presentation lunch next week with the company, so it would be good to learn more about how that works. And if anyone listening has any questions they'd like me to ask the company, then just let me know and I'll feed back any responses.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, well, anyone does have any questions for Amazing AI, let us know. I think the best way is probably, we've got our email address, info@stockboxmedia.com, or there will be a tweet going out with, of course, this podcast. So just reply on that, pick it up, and if there's any questions, Dan can ask them in person, which is always nice. Okay, good. So, Alan, you're taking the lead with Hamak Gold, a company I'm not familiar with today.
Yep, or should we now say Hamak Strategy, which is the new company name, and I'll reveal why shortly. But Hamak has really captured investor imagination recently. It was actually one of the first main market listed companies to introduce a Bitcoin treasury strategy after purchasing 20 Bitcoin which of course was included amongst its treasury assets. But Hamak originally was called Hamak Gold. The EPIC code is HAMA. Shares so far this year have traded as high as 7.5p, as low as 0.3p. Currently trading 3.2p, which gives the company a market capitalization of just under 15 million. Which I think is a hefty discount to where the valuation should be. So the company's flagship asset is the Nimba license in Liberia, which is close to a 5 million ounce gold mine on the Ivory Coast border called the IT Gold Mine. The ITY is the spelling there. There's a joint venture in place with ASX listed First AU Limited. The EPIC code on the ASX is FAU. And this joint venture fully funds the drilling and development of the Nimba project. So it's an earn-in for FAU. There's a 3,000 meter drill program currently underway, 2 holes being completed so far. And at each stage, Hamak receives a payment from First AU, both in terms of cash and shares. They received 250,000 Australian dollars and 1 million shares in FAU in August. And what the money and the assets are enabling the company to do is to assess further gold projects and also just build the company and the board. Also during August, the company appointed Nicola Horlick, of course, the well-known fund manager. She's been appointed to the board. Back in July, they raised 2.46 million at 0.8 pence. Now, this kind of spins over into the current company. That fundraise included investment from the investment arm of Sheikh Nayef bin Ayed Al Thani, who's a member of the Qatari royal family. The funds are being used, of course, to advance exploration and assess other projects, and also to develop this Bitcoin treasury policy that the company is famous for. So a little bit about the board. You have Nick Thurlow, who's the executive chairman. Now, Nick Thurlow, before his appointment, was formerly chief finance officer at MBS Dubai, so working for the Qatari royal family, and also worked at Brandine Asset Management with Nicola Horlick. The chief or the executive director also on the board is James Lawrence. James has had 15 years experience in investment management and running a company called Enigma Strategy, which was ultimately acquired by MBS, the company Nick Thurlow worked for. So through this new Bitcoin treasury policy and the strategy, the company has appointed an advisory board. Originally, the original founder of this advisory board was a guy called Dr. Arthur Laffer. The company subsequently appointed Brittany Kaiser, and this lady she's a tour de force on Bitcoin. She's a global authority on Bitcoin digital asset rights, data protection, and also blockchain technology. Now, why is she a tour de force? She was co-founder of American Bitcoin, NASDAQ listed ABTC. She's also CEO of AlphaTon, also listed on NASDAQ. And there's Aton. She was also famous as a whistleblower in the Cambridge Analytica case as well. So she's very well respected and regarded within the industry. So this advisory board and the company itself are going to provide institutional and professional investors with a structured, professionally managed exposure to gold, Bitcoin assets, and basically the digital asset space. And the board will be working with this advisory board together to take this forward. And the fundraise by the company will be used to invest both into, as I say, gold assets and also to advance the Bitcoin treasury strategy. And that really explains the name, the name change which has just taken place. It was formalized yesterday. The company's changed its name from Hamak Gold to Hamak Strategy, which basically reflects the role that the company now has. So currently trading, as I say, 3.2p. It's well off highs for the year. So I think we're in for an exciting few months. I think the board, backed by Sheikh Benaid Al Thani, will provide plenty of support. And when you're backed by that sort of money, I think there's every investor's going to have every expectation of a pretty exciting ride over the next year to 18 months.
Okay, interesting. So, Dan, do you have any thoughts on this? I know you were sort of more familiar than me.
Well, just to echo Alan, really, I think the caliber of the people that have been able to get on board is certainly exciting. And as I mentioned up top, if we see a bit of a change in sentiment towards Bitcoin treasuries, which looks like it's in the sort of grass stage at the moment, then this company could be one of the biggest beneficiaries.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder what happened with these Bitcoin treasury companies. I think I was reading this morning on the Wall Street Journal that there was sort of the article was referring to we've had a lot of these BTC treasury companies come in and it's got quite saturated. So the analysis was that we'd see a slowdown in the number of new ones and more consolidation in what we've got. So it could be that actually mergers and acquisitions as well in this. So it's certainly not dead. And as you said earlier, Dan, given Bitcoin again at nice new highs there, then it's certainly not over, is it? It'll just go to sort of consolidation. And I guess remains to be seen what that sort of looks like. But clearly the appetite's not it either.
I think also it's a two-pronged approach. I mean, the company's well backed. It's got a really, as you said, Dan, the board's got tremendous caliber. Nicola Horlick now on the board too, so they can pick and choose their investments. Yes, I agree with you. I think there could be create opportunities for consolidation in the Bitcoin treasury space. So that will throw up some opportunities. And clearly the company's got plenty of funding in place to execute on that if needed. But also, if you look at this, the gold project, the Nimba license, I mean, they've got a fantastic opportunity. I mean, first, AU Limited are basically operating, and they're paying a series of stage payments to Hamak for the privilege of working it. And of course, they will eventually own the majority of the project. But I think there are plenty of other gold projects around the world that the company will be assessing, and of course, it gives them an opportunity to execute on those in conjunction with the Bitcoin treasury opportunities.
Indeed. Excellent. Okay. Well, Dan, let's talk about Arkle. We haven't spoken about them for a long time. Alan, I know you used to cover them on Research Talks, and we've done some interviews for years, but it's been a bit quiet, but I think things are starting to change, aren't they, from what I've been hearing?
Yeah, so this is the first time I'm covering them on here, but like you say, we often had them on for interviews on Stockbox for John Teeling. I'm a holder myself, and with a market cap of 2.8 million at the moment, I think it could present strong upside on the right news flow. So I just wanted to, go over the investment case for the company a bit today, following the release of its interim results last week. So Arkle holds gold, zinc, and lithium exploration projects across Ireland and Africa, which is a pretty interesting mix of jurisdictions. But for today, I'm going to focus on the company's two flagship projects, those being its Stone Park zinc licenses in Limerick, Ireland, and its lithium licenses in Botswana. So beginning with Stone Park, Arkle holds 5 licenses as part of a JV with Group 11, which is a Canada-listed explorer. Group 11 is the operator of the JV and its largest holder with a 77% position, and Arkle owns the rest. Now, these licenses really represent quite an interesting opportunity. They already contain a JORC resource of 5.1 million tonnes of 11% combined lead and zinc. They're located to the north of significant licenses also held by Group 11, where significant discoveries of zinc and lead again have been made. And Group 11 believes Stone Park is underpinned by a long mineral trend called the Palace Green corridor that runs through the project and all the way into an adjacent discovery called Palace Green, base metal discovery owned by Glencore, which hosts a huge mineral resource estimate of 45.4 million tonnes at 11.3% combined zinc and lead. So that resource at Palace Green has very similar grades of mineralization as the one at Stone Park. It's just much larger presumably because a lot more work has been completed. So the idea then is that Stone Park could contain the mirror image of the system responsible for Glencore's discovery, and as such, potentially a deposit on an equal or perhaps even greater scale. This view was reinforced earlier in the year by the results of 3 holes that Group 11 drilled at Stone Park in 2024. Results came in earlier this year, and you can see all the technical details in Group 11's June 16th RNS. But the core showed the presence of several key attributes of the mineralizing system at Palace Green, such as brecciation, faulting, hydrothermal fluids, and pyrite as well in significant volumes. The presence of, you have to excuse my pronunciation of this, but sphalerite also suggests the hole was close to high-grade mineralization. So long story short, the results led Group 11's CEO to refer to the Carrick-Kittle West area of Stone Park as one of the best drill targets in Ireland. And the drilling has given rise to a high-grade anomaly called Kilteely, where Group 11 is expected to drill 1 hole later this year, with further drilling planned for 2026. I expect the target there will be high-grade core, providing physical evidence of the potential for a massive zinc system. And that would provide an impetus for accelerating work at the project, and would likely really start to open the door to strategic funding opportunities for its development. So the interesting thing for me here is that Group 11 has seen its share price triple over the last year or so as a direct result of its success at Stone Park, but also the surrounding licenses. It has a market cap right now of 99.5 million Canadian dollars, so around 53.8 2 million pounds. And Arkle admittedly owns a smaller share of the project, but when you consider that it still owns 22.4% of a project with a massive existing zinc discovery and one of the most attractive prospects in Ireland, with the potential to mirror a huge adjacent project owned by Glencore, the fact that drilling to further investigate and prove up that potential discovery is planned, meaning, potentially very significant news flows on the horizon, and the fact that it's covered for its share of drilling costs following a recent premium placing that raised 500k, it's really hard to argue against the fact that Arkle looks undervalued right now with a market cap of just 2.8 million, especially when you consider that the exposure to Stone Park is far from the only opportunity in its portfolio. Like I said up top, there are a number of additional opportunities, but perhaps the most significant of these are its 3 licenses in Botswana that cover more than 1,600 square kilometers. And here the focus is on lithium brines. So through surveying, Arkle has conclusively proved that 2 of these licenses, the third was only added recently, are underlain by a continuous thick conducting layer of brines, with both lithium present in low concentrations as well as magnesium in higher grades. And both of these minerals are potentially amenable to a method called direct lithium extraction. So that could be another massive earner, and it would be a lot quicker and cheaper to bring into production than a traditional mine. So the next steps there are the completion of an environmental impact assessment, followed by shallow drilling to collect samples to see if it will work with that direct lithium extraction. And that will tell Arkle more about the economic viability of the operation for both lithium and magnesium. So yeah, in summary, I think you really have a lot there for 2.8 million at Arkle. You've got 2 very promising projects, both located in stable, mining-friendly jurisdiction. And you've got great news flow catalysts on the horizon, with drilling planned at both Stone Park and in Botswana. So it's a little surprise Arkle struck such a confident tone in its results last week. It was even highlighting the fact that it's been receiving interest in its license portfolio and its AIM listing. So I don't know if that's a hint towards anything, but what is clear at the moment is the stock is already beginning to gain some traction, rising a fair bit in recent weeks. And I think good news flow, particularly decent drill results from Stone Park, have the potential to lead it to fly later in the year when the results come in. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting to get an update on that, Dan, because I know they've been around for a while, and this venture with Group 11 has been going on for a while, but it's always not really moved, has it? So the fact that it's maybe picking up, I mean, do you feel? I mean, Alan, actually, I'd be keen, having listened to Dan there, what you think of it, having, of course, you are a bit familiar with Arkle as well. I know you've covered them before.
I think Arkle have a great project portfolio, and certainly having interviewed Patrick in the past and followed the company, I do feel that many companies, given the current upsurge in miners, are now seeing an improvement in their share price and valuation, and also liquidity in the stock. And I think Arkle has got a set of assets that are on a par with any of its peer group companies, but that the market's yet to appreciate the value of the offering. So it needs a spark, doesn't it? It needs something to bring it to life. But I think certainly Glencore, the whole Glencore issue and Group 14, isn't it? I believe, Dan. Having seen their share price appreciate on the back of the asset, you wonder why the same hasn't happened for Arkle. So that will happen, though, I'm sure. It's and really at this stage, it just highlights the opportunity on offer.
Mm.
Good, excellent. Well, we'll keep tabs on them then, for sure. Absolutely. Okay, well, yeah. Alan, let's move on and talk about Harena Resources then. I know we've covered them before, but what's the latest?
Okay, so we have covered Harena before, Mark, but I think this is the company is rapidly approaching a value inflection point. So I'll just recap a bit on the company over the year. So Harena is the owner. It now owns 100% of a very advanced ionic rare earths project in Madagascar called Ampasindava. It's one of the most significant ionic clay rare earth deposits outside of China, and of course the control that China has of this market is well known, and also the efforts made by sort of the major states, particularly the USA, to secure rare earth sources outside of China are equally well known, and moves have been made recently by the US to look at opportunities in this regard. So the Ampassandava project has well over 600,000 tons of total rare earth oxides, TREO, at 895 parts per million. There's already an NI 43101 report published for the resource. Lots of metallurgical test work has been completed, and also the environment where the high-grade rare earths are situated is just under the surface, and the company has developed a sustainable way of taking the soil off, storing the soil, mining the rare earths, and then the environment is then restored back to the condition it was in prior to the miners coming in, and that's a key part of mining nowadays. But also the adsorption process that is used to describe the rare earths that are bonded to these ionic clays. It's a very easy process to wash off these rare earths, and also to store the ore, and to store the rare earth metals after they've been mined too. So it's a very sustainable project in that regard. The company came to market in March, came to market at 3p, and the shares have pulled back. And I think when you get a company with a single project, even though the project is well advanced, it often takes a while for value to be recognised by the market, and also the larger retail investor environment. So there have been a number of key developments over the past month. The company raised a further 1.2 million at 1.5p in August. The shares are currently trading at just under, or just over 2p, should I say, and that gives the company a market capitalization of 11.5 million. But compared to where the company should be, it's still chicken feed, and I think there are many expectations from investors that this is going to go an awful lot higher before the mine comes into production. So currently, the money raised has been used to complete a PFS, which is on track for submission any day now. I mean, we are expecting an announcement on that any day. They've also completed a project design philosophy. This philosophy, of course, I've described the method of mining. It's focused on near surface grade zones, efficiency, and of course low impact processing. Also, there have been some board changes too. The original board CEO, Joe Belladonna, stepped aside, and in comes Ivan Murphy. Ivan was the former Aberdeen Asset Management Ireland managing director, and Ivan was promoted to executive chairman, along with Alan Mulligan, who's now the technical director of the company. Alan Mulligan has many years of rare earths expertise. He developed a rare earths project in Uganda, and is very much an authority on the subject. Now, Ivan Murphy is a very hands-on exec chairman. He's spent a lot of time out of Madagascar. He's been down to the pits with the miners, and then taken the project around the world. So we've got the PFS online, and the other thing that the company has completed over the past month is it's listed on the OTCQB market to give some access to US investors. I mentioned the US is now looking at equity stakes in critical mineral firms, and in particular rare earths, and it is believed that conversations are taking place. And as if to confirm that, yesterday RAB Capital announced that they had increased their shareholding in Harena Resources from 5.5% to 9%. They invested a further 450,000. But that doesn't tell the whole story. This is a very tightly held stock. There's over 50% held by. So you've got RAB Capital at 9%, Pure Ice, hold 5.5%. Gentleman Sebastian Jerd holds 9.5%. Alan Mulligan, the technical director, owns 8.8%. Bradley Radoff, he owns 8%. Ed Nealon owns 3.3%. Now, Ed Nealon, of course, is a long-standing veteran CEO. He's of course chairman at Lexington Gold. They have the Watersrand project in South Africa. Ed was also the founder of Sylvania Platinum, if anyone remembers that, and also Tanzanite One. That's going back a few years, but he's a hugely experienced investor. So this group of shareholders together are just sitting on this stock because they, like we do, believe this is going to go an awful lot higher before too long. So near term, expect news on the PFS, and I think we might see news of interest, further news of interest from the US in the Ampas and Dover project.
Okay, good. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Dan, do you want to finish us off then with Buxton Resources, ASX listed Gervais Heddle? You spoke to him recently, I think, as well.
Yeah, so Buxton had some really significant news out this week. If you'll recall, last time I covered the company on here, it just finished its maiden hole at the Centurion project in Western Australia. So Centurion contains massive semi-constant magnetic and gravity anomalies that cover an area of 3.5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. So it's huge, and it's drawing comparisons to Olympic Dam. And Buxton had been drilling to find out the cause of the anomaly. Now, the drilling had been a bit of a disappointment. It was difficult on the way down. And after getting to around 800 meters, the hole hadn't hit the targeted basement and got stuck in compacted beach sands. So while all was not lost, with plans still in place to find the cause of the anomaly, it was a bit of a step back. Since then, though, Buxton has taken some of those sands that hit the bottom of the hole, cut them in half, done some assays on the rock contained within, come back with some really cracking results. This week, the company announced that partial leach assays from the end of the hole have returned silver assays of up to 4.57 grams per ton silver, as well as elevated levels of tungsten, molybdenum, copper, and zinc. And the significance of this is that these are all pathfinder minerals, and Buxton believes they could be indicative of the presence of a much more significant precious/base metal deposit nearby. I spoke to Gervais Heddle, the company's non-exec chair, earlier this week. He explained this further. He said Buxton is interested in whether under the surface there could be what's known as a local basement high, where a significant precious or base metals deposit could be present. And these minerals the company have counted have effectively rolled off it by way of groundwater carrying metals through the porous sand. I thought it was interesting that Gervais in the interview drew a comparison to the early stages of his Havieron discovery while he was at Greatland Gold. Like Havieron, Buxton now has a compelling geophysical target and a strong geochemical signature. So all in all, a very good target. And now the company's goal is to find the source of this new mineralization, the ideal target being a significant metal system, be that precious or base metals or both. So the next steps are further core analysis, along with an MT survey to better understand the topography of the basement, which could help to highlight that high point they are looking for. And if that works, then they have a really strong lead to go on for their next drill program. So from an investor perspective, the market's responded well to the news, which came out today, they're recording. The company was up 16.1% at 0.036 Aussie dollars. But the fact remains that if the follow-up work continues to build on the case for this significant deposit, and if that's further evidence through drilling, then you'd expect the company's market cap to be much higher than its current 12.4 million Aussie dollars. And you can't forget as well that this is just one opportunity in the company's portfolio. Namely, there's also Madman, which is another potential company maker. So not only is this one based in the Payson region of Western Australia, like Greatland's Havieron project, it also contains an aeromagnetic anomaly of a similar amplitude and geological setting to a Havieron, but at a much more accessible depth. I think it's estimated to be less than 200 meters from the surface. So not a lot of on-the-ground exploration has historically been completed at Madman. Buxton is changing this. It's with a heritage survey clearance survey completed and a drilling grant awarded, the company is now preparing to launch into its fully funded maiden drilling campaign at the project. This was delayed recently by a requirement for the company to get an additional clearance, which happens sometimes, but it's working on resolving that. And drilling is now expected to begin next year, specifically no earlier than March 2026. So we'll see when that starts. And alongside that, Buxton offers further potential discovery upside for a portfolio of additional highly prospective assets, which I'll go into another time because there are a lot of them, but you can check out the release before the one that just came out for an overview of the strategy there. So yeah, long story short, there's a lot of potential for news flow here, and I'm excited to see what comes out, not just from Centurion, but also Madman and those other assets over the coming months.
Good. So do we have to wait till March, did you say, Dan, for the drilling?
That's for Madman.
For Madman
Centurion,
again? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Madman, it'll be their first hole. They're just preparing. So that's the Javier style project, I believe. And then Centurion's the one where this new opportunities come out. They were targeting the IOCG, but now they're looking at something that might be a little bit different alongside that. So we'll be looking for what comes out of that. The next key step will be what comes out of the MT survey, yeah.
Right, okay. So then the Centurion, that's been drilled already, so that'll be done again before year end. And then Madman, the sort of the Javier one in March.
I'm not sure if they'll be drilling Centurion before year end. They will drill it again, I presume.
Yeah.
But they do depend on the results of this surveying and further course up.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, yeah, we all know, well, we should. Anyone in this space should know Gervais, of course, Greatland Gold. He said he wants to do it. He doesn't do it for the fun of it. He wants to do it again, build $1 billion or pound company. So, I mean, I like it. Don't know, Alan, do you want to have some final thoughts on it before we sign off?
Well, just one final thought. Gervais Huddle.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Enough said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He made that Greatland Gold story a great success, and then took some time out, and he's come back for something similar. He's not going to come back for something, as I said, for the hell of it. So
I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, Gervais has got a there's a stellar career behind him, and when he turns his attention to anything, gets involved and puts his name to it, he'll bring the same analytical approach that he did with Greatland, and it just makes Buxton an incredibly exciting investment proposition, I think.
Absolutely,
and
I agree.
But each of the projects, the due diligence that he will have undertaken on a personal basis, it just provides that extra level of reassurance, and I think that's important for investors.
Yeah. Well, thank you both very much as always for your time, and we'll speak in a week's time.
Thanks, guys.
Mark. Thanks, Dan. Cheers.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.